Have you guys ever wondered if there is a sea monster in Loch Ness Lake? It is said that the photo of the monster in the lake, someone said the picture was fake. But the stories behind the photo, the Loch Ness monster is real. Today, JTeam will introduce you to a movie, The Water Horse, Legend of the Deep. The story takes place in a small town in Scotland. There is a young couple going to a small pub in town, looking at a picture of the monster on the wall. The man says it is fake, and the girl doesn't believe much her friend's words. At this time, an old man sitting at the next table says, although the picture is fake, the stories behind the photo are real. The old man begins to tell that story with interest. During World War II, in the small seaside town, there was a boy named Angus MacMorrow. The boy was very fond of water, but he was also afraid to go into the water. Every time he went to the beach, he could only sat obediently on the rock on the shore. He recalled the fear of drowning last time. Since then, he still didn't dare to go the water anymore. That day, Angus picked up the shells with a bucket. He discovered a strange, rough oval. It looked like a stone. He wanted to see it clearer. Then his mother, Anne MacMorrow, appeared and urged him to go home. Angus could only put it in the bucket and went home with his mother. He went to an old workshop, washed the strange stone by water. Then he used a knife, carefully took out a corner of the rock. He saw something colorful inside. He hadn't studied carefully yet. He was called back to help his mother make tea. After that, he forgot about that day. At night, when he was looking at his father's photo, outside, it was thunder and heavy rain. Angus heard a strange cry. He got off the bed and walked over to the window to look. That workshop's door wasn't locked tightly, so the door was shaken by the wind. Angus rushed to the workshop in the rain. The boy saw that the oval object only had its shell left. On the ground, there was still a long trail of movement. Suddenly, a glass box shattered. He also heard something very strange. Angus heard a strange noise, so he came curiously. The boy saw a small freak that he had never seen before. Angus was very curious. He took a chopped potato and fed the little monster. The boy found it injured, so quickly kept it and patiently wiped the wound for it. It turned out that what Angus picked up was not a stone, but an egg of a monster. Early in the next morning, there was a group of soldiers driving to his house. Angus' boy eagerly hoped his father would also return with this group. Captain Thomas Hamilton said to Angus's mother, their officers would station in their homes. Angus told his sister about the secret of the little monster, but the older sister had more interest in having soldiers coming home. Angus couldn't find anyone else. He can only go to the library to find the material himself. The boy found a lot of books, but he still didn't know what kind of animal that creature was. Then he remembered when he was a child, his father had told him a story about a sea monster. In order to not be found, Angus dropped it into a bucket full of water. He named it Crusoe. Angus's mother suspected that he sneaked his pets in that old workshop. Therefore, she invited one to clean up that room. When the boy walked out the door, then he saw the cleaner pouring the water tank that the boy dropped the Crusoe into. But luckily, it wasn't there at that time. He also didn't know where it was. Waiting till evening, Angus had to hold a flashlight, secretly looking for Crusoe. But unexpectedly, the Crusoe wasn't outside, but it was in the house running wildly. A dog saw it and chased, creating a chaos in the kitchen. Angus's sister Kirsty was getting ready to take a shower. Suddenly she found Crusoe in the bath. That threatened the girl. She screamed out loud. Angus heard that. He immediately ran over, seeing that the small animal, which he didn't meet one day, was much bigger than before. The boy told his sister to keep it a secret. One time, Angus's mother gave her husband's clothes to the maid, Lewis. It turned out that a year ago Angus's father died, but she hadn't told Angus that yet. So the boy still often went to the old workshop to see his father's photo. The days were always marked on the calendar. He believed that Dad will come back one day. After Lewis finished changing clothes, then he went to the bathroom to fix the plumbing. He was outside the door hearing a strange noise. Angus couldn't stop but let Lewis enter. Crusoe scared Lewis away. Angus can only told him everything. After listening to the story, Lewis said that Crusoe was like the legendary sea monster, and he also added that there was only one sea monster in the world at a time, because when the sea monster got old, it would leave an egg and die. Therefore, this sea monster was born without parents. At this moment, Angus's mother came. Lewis promised Angus he wouldn't tell this secret. Together with the siblings lied to their mother. The officers held a home party that day. Kirsty saw that, so she called Angus to come to the living room together. But when he went out, he forgot to lock the door tightly. Crusoe ran outside and met the dog the day before. They too chased each other upside down, damaged and broke many precious items in the house. The dog even ran through the table at the party of the soldiers. But fortunately, people just thought it was the dogs running around, and Crusoe jumped into the aquarium in the yard. Lewis looked for it all night and couldn't find Crusoe. Suddenly, when he went to the backyard, he discovered the body of the sea monster was much bigger than before after one night. So Lewis immediately woke up the young Angus, who was sleeping. There was nowhere in the house that can hold Crusoe. Because it was too big, they could only take Crusoe to the lake next to the town. The sea monster played on the water, making Angus hesitated inside. On the surface of the lake, two old men were sitting on a fishing boat. The fishing rod was suddenly pulled down. They thought they had caught a large fish. The man bent down to observe. As a result, the sea monster suddenly popped out of the water. Threatening that man, he could only scream, "Monster, monster." The old man still didn't believe it. As a result, the boat was dragged for a long distance by Crusoe. Finally, they could only break the fishing line to escape. Day by day, Crusoe was free to swim and grew terribly. Angus must join class every day and train with the solidars. Finally, one day, the boy took a chance to escape. He went to the lake and met Crusoe. Now, it had become super huge, surprising Angus. It took Angus on its back and showed the boy around. This made Angus feel very excited. It also helped the boy no longer afraid of water. One day soldiers drove Angus' family to the lake, and said that they wanted to show them something. Unexpectedly, it was a fire test on the lake. Angus worried and told his mother the secret he kept secret for a long time. He wanted Mom to help him stop it, but she didn't believe what he said. Cannons kept shooting once and again. They exploded around where the Crusoe was swimming one by one. Angus was also sent back home. Now on the other side of the lake, two old men fishing on the lake the day before came with their cameras. They wanted to take pictures of the sea monster, but the cannons that had just shot threatening it to swim away. But the dream of growing rich never died out. So, they asked someone to make a fake sea monster, put it in the lake and shot again. The photo of the monster in the lake which appears at the present time is from that even. Since Angus came to see the fire test, his mother locked him up in the house. The Crusoe hadn't been seen again since then. One day there was an officer looking at the newspaper and seeing the photo. He said he had seen this sea monster before. Because of that, they decided to catch this sea monster at all cost. That day, Angus's sister secretly released him. The boy and Lewis went to the lake, called Crusoe to appear. As expected, when it heard Angus's voice, it immediately appeared, but it was frightened last time, so it was very aggressive now. Almost bit off Angus's arm. At the same time, several soldiers appeared on the lake. The dogs barking revealed the location of Crusoe. That group of soldiers shot the sea monster with machine guns. This made it extremely angry, immediately rushed to overturn the boat, lifted the soldier in the air. Angus saw that he constantly used his hand to signal Crusoe to stop. But unfortunately, he slipped and fell into the water. Crusoe saw Angus in danger, awakened from fear. It instantly released that soldier, dove under the water to save Angus sinking. When the boy also wanted to prove to his mother that Crusoe is not a scary animal, the soldiers once again fired cannons to the lake. Because of protecting Crusoe, Angus jumped on the back of the sea monster. While soldiers shot cannons, the boy showed Crusoe how to avoid the shots, and led it to swim towards the sea. However, when it and Angus reached the sea, they were wrongly mistaken by other soldiers to be German submarines, so they also started firing cannons, and pulling up the anti-submarine nets. Crusoe and Angus had no way to go. They had to say goodbye here. Angus was then taken on ship, and the Crusoe spun around and flew over the iron net, safely swam to the sea and had its own freedom. From that time onward, Angus didn't see him again. Like his father, him was also no longer able to return home. But what remained are beautiful and memorable memories. The story of the photo is over. About the old man telling the story in that little bar. The old man is in front of the two young people, is the child in the story of the sea monster, Angus. The today's movie ends here. JTeam will see you again, bye.